Hi friends. Hey. I'm Mod Jay-Z. I'm in the talent acquisition team and welcome to a day in the life of a JMod. Is everybody having a good RuneFest? Yeah. Woo! Did everybody enjoy last night? Yeah. Sandwiches. Oh God, I could have died. But yeah, so welcome to my panel. I suppose let's just go around, make introductions, job titles, and then let's launch straight into the questions. And then at the end, I want to give you guys an opportunity to ask some questions too. Okay, so we'll build in some time for that. So.
Hello, I'm Mod Breezy. I joined 2 months ago as junior QA on the mining and smithing team.
Hello, I'm Mod Mejerwall. I joined Jagex 4 months ago as a senior designer on a very secret project.
Hi, I'm Mod Lottie. I'm a senior product analyst for RuneScape and Old School.
And my name is Mod Boko. I've worked at Jagex now for like 5.5 years. I joined as a web systems developer, moved over to the fabled game engine team, and I've been working on Old School RuneScape for the past 2 years, or however long we've been kind of ramping up for.
Cool. Okay. Stick with me, guys, right? Morning! Good morning, guys. It's like 9 to 10 a.m. We have flexible working hours, so some of these guys are slackers, I bet. What does your morning look like when you get in? What does it look like? How do you prepare for the day ahead?
Come from the sense?
Go on, looking at you.
Normally tea to begin with, like nothing happens before tea. So I'll get in, make sure that everything's still running. We have like a big systems board behind us, and if that is red, that is bad. So I will look at that immediately and sort that out. And then usually I'm just given free rein to kind of continue whatever that I happen to be working on, which right now is Old School RuneScape, basically, on mobile. So.
First thing I do is get a flask of coffee. I'm not one that just has the one. I'll sip on that, check my emails, check if anything's broken, make sure all the data feeds are still coming through okay, moan at him if they aren't. And then I'll look at sort of if there's been any hot fixes overnight so I can check out to see if we need to refund players or anything like that with some analysis, yeah.
I usually get to work around 9, and I'm actually starting to get hooked on hot chocolate right now instead of coffee.
Our hot chocolate machines, they're good.
It is really nice,
They
isn't
are,
it?
honestly, they're really good. So, yeah.
Yeah. And after that, I usually sit and go through my schedule for the day, do priorities for whatever design questions that I need to solve or decisions that I need to get through for the day, and try to catch up with my creative director and other designers and make sure that we establish a vision that works for different features of the game, that they synergize together. And then I usually have a couple of meetings and hopefully I get some time to design.
So my day starts around 8 a.m. I get in early, so I can leave early. I start with a bowl of porridge and some hot chocolate, which is perfect. And then I get to my PC, and since I'm on QA, I have to go through bug queues in the morning. So any bugs that you guys have sent us, I'll go through, try and reproduce them, and if it's a bug, submit it as a bug to devs. Then I go on to mining and smithing, and I get through our task list, and I mine, and I mine, and I smith, and I smith, and submit any bugs to our devs, or any suggestions or feedback. And then if I have any sort of meetings or anything to talk about sort of the balancing of the skill, any issues, interfaces, etc., do that as well.
What about you, Jodie? How's your morning go?
Well, I get in probably between 8:30 and 9 o'clock. I always try, because I always like to leave by 5:30, really. And I get in, and the first thing I have to do is I have to go to the canteen, and I have to get one of Jesse's omelettes. Oh my God.
They're really nice.
And now I'm so spoiled. I literally can't imagine life without a cooked breakfast in the morning. And I've really struggled at RuneFest because I've had no cooked breakfast and I get terribly hangry. So, but yeah, in the morning I'm like, come on now, big omelette, and that sets me up for my day for sure.
We're getting a little bit spoiled at Jagex, just a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
It was all real anger that you were hitting with the bread yesterday on the stage.
Oh
basically.
God!
It was real kind of. Can
we stop talking about the bread? So So I know Farhad kind of touched a bit on his day as well, what he gets up to during the day. How about you guys? What do your days look like? I know for me, typically 3 p.m, I get everybody at my desk. I don't know what it is about my afternoon, but at 3 p.m, I just get everybody come to my desk and they want one thing or another. Typically it's, please can we get some cake? That is my afternoon, the 3 p.m. hunger strike. Yeah.
In the afternoon, I try to get some actual work done. Life as designer, you spend a lot of time just talking to people and having brainstormings or meetings or discussing things like staffing or a little bit more fun, like how our AI should behave, for example. But usually in the afternoon around 3, that's when I try to sit down and get my head together and get some documentation out there and iterate a little bit on how the game is going to look and work and feel.
I mean, so we work on like an agile sprint pattern. So we usually have stand up like 10 o'clock, half 10. So I have my golden hour, like 11 through to 12, half 12, where I have like that solid time where I can like code to myself. So I'll lock myself on work. And then around 3 is my, again, golden hour where I can get stuff done. I'll try and arrange my meetings around that. There's a tea room where basically someone raises the tea alarm and we'll all kind of go for it. Again, there's a lot of tea involved in games development or coffee. But that tends to be around just after lunch. So that's, again, that golden hour where I can kind of get in my zone and no one's going to come in and disturb me while I'm kind of trying to get all of the things to figure out themselves out. So.
My day is probably the most varied out of anyone's. It'll entirely depend on what's being released in RuneScape or Old School. So I'll be looking at the updates when they're coming out, or I'll be sat with the development teams or the design teams to work out what they're going to plan for the next year, month, next week, see what sort of players are going to get involved, and then try and work out where there's some niches that could potentially be filled, and then also things like level requirements. So if they want to put in a new Slayer monster, they'll be like, oh, where are people stopping slaying? Is there a specific point? Do we want to put in a monster or a master or something in at that point, and then go from there? So then also when content gets released, they want to know exactly how many people are getting involved. Was it worth the development time? So I'll spend some time with them trying to work out how many people sort of engaged with each bit of the content as well. So if you release a quest, sort of like Dragon Slayer 2, then you've got the boss afterwards and you've got the quest. So they'll want to know how many people are completing the quest, how many people are doing the boss, whether or not they're sticking around with it or not, and then work out if the drops are okay, and then sort of go from there. It's very varied. It's nice.
Cool. So, I mean, one question that I think would actually be pretty interesting for a lot of people in the room is, casting your mind back to 5 years ago. And we've got, quite varying experience here on this panel, right? But Farhad, for example, 5 years ago, what were you doing? And did you ever think you would be in the position you're in now?
No, I don't think I didn't think I'd be here, saying at RuneFest, doing a talk. 5 years ago, I just got into university, doing game design. Absolutely loved it, because I wanted to do games for quite a long time growing up. So I had a lot of games in my childhood that sort of influenced my decision to become a designer. So did that for about 4 years, graduated last year, and I did a little bit of sort of... Thank you. Yeah, I did, yeah. I started out as sort of like an AR, VR app developer for an architecture department at university. So it wasn't crazy exciting, but like VR was cool. And then a few months ago, I saw an open position for Jagex. So I thought I'd apply, got a few emails, had a phone interview, came down, and then I'm here. I started off as a kid wanting to do animation. I loved cartoons, and then I wanted to do graphic design, 3D art, stuff like that. That grew into wanting to do games, and here I am.
There you go. 5 years ago, I was actually already in the industry. I feel like, part of the decoration at this point. I was in Montreal working for Warner Brother Games on a game called Batman Arkham Origins as a gameplay programmer at the time. After that, I went to IDOS Montreal to work on Deus Ex Mankind Divided as a programmer. And after that, I went to Funcom to work on Roller Coaster Tycoon as designer and programmer. So that's slowly I transitioned. I made one more project at Funcom, and then I moved over to Capcom Vancouver, where I worked as feature owner of Boss Fights. That was pretty cool. And now I'm here in Cambridge working on a secret
Something
project.
exciting.
Still a lot of artificial intelligence, but I can't tell you more than that.
No.
And I like
It's
it
a
a lot so
secret.
far.
So I grew up playing the game RuneScape. So since I was about 11, probably. So I always wanted to be part of the games industry. I used to do little Excel sheets which would track my experience, how much money I was making. I was sort of one of those people that wouldn't
Data
be allowed-
nerd.
Yeah, data nerd. Data nerd is the word. Yeah. So I would sit there with my Excel sheets to work out what's the best thing to be doing. So yeah, I got into the industry sort of after that. I went to college and did maths and computer science because I wanted to get into programming and then also other bits and pieces. And then I went to university and did computer science. And then there was an internship program at Jagex, and I thought, hell, why not? Like, yeah, let's do this. So I applied and I got the place, and yeah, I never really looked back. I went back to uni for my final year and then came back and just excelled. It's been awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, I just joined like 5 years ago. So if I just go to the beginning, I moved to Cambridge after graduating from Teesside with a comp sci degree. But I knew I kind of wanted to get in games, and I'd played like RuneScape for like since the beginning at that point. So like, Jagex is going to be like a core like thing. It just so happened I had a friend who worked at Jagex at the time, so naturally he was my best friend. But we went to a convention up in the north called Animex, and basically the whole Jagex recruitment team came in for that convention, and so I had like basically a chance to talk to the whole team just to myself. And I was like, look, I've applied like 6 or 7 times, there's been nothing back, what do you think? They're like, oh, we're looking for someone exactly like you, apply. So I did, and then it was all kind of history from there basically. But yeah, cool. I loved RuneScape, so to have finally get in and work on that was just a dream come true basically.
That's really cool. And I mean, Far had kind of touched on the fact that he went to university and studied design, right? And now you're in QA, which actually is quite a popular route into the games industry, QA and CS, customer support. So typically they're quite good entry-level routes to get yourself into games. When you get yourself into a large enough studio, there are usually opportunities to move on from that, move across into other departments, right? So yeah, that's a good shout. I know Mod Lottie as well, she mentioned our internship. I know Mod Boko came in through our graduate scheme. So just on that note, that is kind of on hold at the moment, partly because of just how mad it's been for us this year in terms of hiring. It's been a journey, and a good one, a real positive one, because we are seeing Jagex grow, and we are kind of helping Jagex to achieve its full potential kind of thing, right? But on that note, hopefully next year, I can't make any promises, we will be looking to investigate and reinstate our graduate scheme, our internships, our placements, because that's something that I'm very passionate about, because I was an ex-teacher, basically. So yeah, hopefully that's going to be my project for next year, depending on how hiring kind of goes over the next few months, basically. So watch this space, essentially.
You can segue in, you can QA upstairs if you haven't already tried that. They've got like an actual QA.
Yeah, oh my God,
thing.
yeah, that's a good shout.
So you should check it out if you haven't already and see what they're kind of getting a bit of appreciation of what those guys kind of do.
No spaghetti in sight or plastic bugs,
Many
I promise.
spaghettis.
A question to Jody though.
Yeah.
5 years ago, did you think you would be working in the game industry?
No way. So yeah, I mentioned I was a teacher before, right? So 5 years ago, I was kind of coming towards the end of my teacher training. I actually trained to teach French and German at secondary school. And at this point, I'd spent so much of my life thinking I'm going to be a teacher that when reality hit, I was like, this is horrendous. Don't get me wrong, I really miss working with young people and stuff, but there's various other stuff we can talk about, but that's another conversation for another time. And know that I have utmost respect for teachers, and you all should have too, defos. So when I realised that, oh my God, what I thought was my dream job really is not my dream job, I was a bit lost, and I kind of stumbled into recruitment. And this was agency side, so it's super high pressure contract, recruitment, basically. And it wasn't for me because it was all about the money. And don't get me wrong, like I did all right with it, but it just was very soul destroying. I was really lucky and I was approached by another agency, but these guys actually specialized in the games industry. So I had the opportunity to work with loads of studios all over the world. And it literally was just because I happened to know somebody that I got into this place and got to work with studios like Remedy, Kojima Productions, Starbreeze, like just amazing studios all over, made amazing friends, which is one of the things about the games industry because, yeah, there are some egos, but really for the most part, just everybody's really blooming nice.
It's really small. It's really weirdly like small world.
It seems big, but it's small. Everybody knows everybody. And it was that way that I met one of my really good friends who was working at Splash Damage at the time, the guys behind like Gears of War and stuff like that. And she was the one who put me in touch with my manager, Peter Lovell. And here I am. Here I am.
Ta-da.
Even a year ago, if you'd have been like, Jodie, you're going to be in-house this time next year, I'd have been like, nah. And yeah, woohoo.
Yay.
Whoop. Okay, so on that note, if you could, give just like one piece of advice actually to anyone aspiring to get into the industry, what would you say? What's your number one advice?
Just make games, basically. I was trying to think, I don't know if it's correct, but I use a lot of social media to kind of keep up to date with not just what we're doing, but like industry-wise, because it's really small. Because we got like Frontier over the road, we got Ninja around the corner, and they've been doing great.
Play Fusion.
But right now, and then Play Fusion as well, there's a hashtag Inktober for like artists, so you can see all of the kind of people who are like really good artists. There's like, everyone really doesn't think they're good, and that's not just you, that's people who are in this industry. Everyone really kind of just gives everyone support. So there's Inktober, and there's also Blocktober, and I was seeing the blockouts for Uncharted and like how they've built that up and stuff like that. There is, you see the polished, finished article, which is something you should aspire to, but you won't do on your own, but you should look to kind of get pieces of things you've never seen before or something, and get the experience as soon as of making bad games, because that's the only way you kind of make good games.
Yeah.
So.
I don't really know. Like, I think one of the things I mainly did was look at sort of just Google everything. Like literally Google's your best friend. So if you want to know something, don't just say, oh, I've no idea. Just Google it. Like, work it out, read through the articles, do a bit of research, work out who's best to talk to.
Yeah, that's
tweet
a big
at
thing.
people. Like, make connections. Like, that's the main thing, is you make connections, as Jodie was saying, and you can get in anywhere, really, as long as you've got some sort of expertise and willingness to learn. Like, learning, like, honestly, like, Jagex, constantly learning is like one of the biggest things we do at Jagex, is you're constantly progressing not only yourself but your work, and it really is great. So learn, connect, that's sort of my two, I think.
Cool.
Well, my advice would be similar. First, to build on your portfolio is very, very important when you are a student. And you can mix and match and find things that would fit there. For example, that you did an internship, or you were part of an indie group or a student group who made a team together for a competition. Or you can put, if you have some good, polish up your game jam games a little bit. Just a little bit before you put them there. Put your university projects out there. Anything that you can come up with that would show that you have a little bit of experience will help you a lot.
So it's pretty much what these guys have been saying. Make stuff, no matter what you do. If you're a programmer or a designer, artist or audio, just make stuff. So like I want to be a level designer, so I'll just create like some sort of like block mesh levels. And just sort of just make some, cool, that's nice, make some more, just make stuff and build a portfolio. If you've been at game jam projects, if you've had previous jobs or placements, anything like that, put it all in a portfolio, show your best work, even if it isn't what you might consider good. Definitely use things like Twitter, LinkedIn, connect with your favorite devs, connect with people from your favorite companies, follow them, They might leave companies, they might go halfway across the world, but if you're following them, keeping up with them, the people who are on like the games industry social media are always there for advice. They'll always be tweeting. There'll all be threads. People will always sort of give advice how to write a cover letter, how to build your portfolio, etc., etc. It's definitely beyond that. And sort of one last thing is that there's a sort of a big difference between liking playing games and liking making games. I think like there's a lot of people from my university, for example, that can tell you everything about every game ever made, and they're super passionate. But when it comes to making games, you know, they might just not be built for it. But with that being said, go for it. Like, just make it. And if you don't like it, that's fine. You'll definitely learn a lot from it, and you'll meet a lot of cool people. Go to any events, networking, game jams, any event at all, even if you don't like those sort of crowds, even if you get nervous or whatever, just go for it. Build on yourself as a person, for sure.
Okay. I want to add one last thing that I think we all actually forgot. Find a mentor. Find someone who will be there, give you advice, look at your portfolio, look at your resume, look at your cover letter, you know, show you, help you with different questions that people might ask you on an interview, for example, tell you what you need to learn, maybe look at your code, maybe tell you your weak points, and maybe give hints on what's your next step.
I think, like, this is funny that we haven't actually caught up in terms of my top 3 tips to get into games, but you guys have all hit the nails on the head because, it's 100% about just reaching out, going to these events. You can go to like Develop in Brighton, it's not that expensive, it's all right, you can budget for it. Go to Gamescom if you ever get the chance to go somewhere like that. It's insane, it's actually so good. Kills you, but it's good. And you know, it does seem quite daunting sometimes when you're in a crowd full of people and you're trying to make friends and stuff, but know that, honestly, everybody is really friendly in games, genuinely, and you'll be okay. And everybody does want to help you succeed, right? Portfolio, that's such a big thing. Yes, I want to see your university work and your internship work and all that sort of stuff, but personal projects, don't forget about your personal projects. That's my number one thing. Because if you just rely on your university work alone, you know, you've got 25 other people on your course. Yeah, you might have done slightly different projects, but ultimately it's all pretty much the same. I need to see what makes you you. What are you passionate about? I want to see creativity. I want to see your personality in these projects, right? So just keep doing it. Keep making. Find time for it. Because if you really want it, then you'll find the time for it. Right? I think that's kind of what tips-wise, that's good. I think I was going to throw in a bonus question.
Bonus.
Game dev heroes.
Ooh.
Do we have any heroes?
Kojima right now is like incredible. Like obviously all the fallout from.
I was the exclusive, just call out exclusive recruiter for Kojima himself. And I place people on Death Stranding. What?
It's such a cool game. Like
yeah.
I don't even know what it's about, and if I get to the end of it and I still don't know what it's about, I'll be like, "That's amazing." So yeah, he obviously knows what he's doing because the Metal Gear series, and then has gone and done his own thing. There's a lot of trust in him just being able to do that. So, yeah. Obviously, everyone at Jagex are all my game dev heroes. Like I secretly like. Been there 5 years, like I'm still like I don't feel like I belong, and I'm looking around like you're great, and you're great, and you're great, and you're great, and I'm not worthy kind of thing. So, yeah.
I think my dev heroes are the Gower brothers. Yeah. Like they built everything. They inspired me as a young kid to get into this industry, and they did so much, and I'm so grateful for what they did. So yeah.
So I have, I'm actually a little bit of a fangirl myself of this one person in games. And it's actually a composer. Her name is Yoko Shimomura. She made the music for Legend of Mana, Kingdom Hearts, and Xenoblade Chronicles. And something that I've realized more and more as I became a developer is that how much the music played a part for me in the old games that I used to play, how much they helped me build my feeling and my connection to the game and the whole atmosphere in them. And even now I spend anytime I can. I try to go to different concerts, different arrangements. Love the concert here yesterday.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
I've actually went to Tokyo Game Show to see a panel with her as well. And I got an autograph and a signed CD sent to me, so I'm pretty happy. So yeah, really cool composer. Check her out, Joko Shimomura.
My heroes, I think within Jagex, Mod Osborne, Mod Mark, Mod Jack, Mod Timbo. These guys are all designers that I sort of look up to. Being that I want to be in design one day, being able to sort of just be in the same room as them and just sort of hear them talk, hear the way they sort of move and act and think is definitely great. Outside of Jagex, Richard Lamarchand, I'm not sure if many people know of him, but he was lead designer on one of my favorite games, Jack and Daxter. That was on the PS2. But he was also lead designer for Uncharted. And he is now a professor at the University of Southern California, doing stuff with games, some really sort of deep level sort of psychology and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely someone that I look up to.
Mega. So, that kind of covers our prepared questions, right? And I wanted to open it up to the floor, and you can ask us collectively as a group any questions, or you might want to ask us as individuals. So, yeah.
Just want to raise your hands. I'll come around. You went first, so there we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to ask you all a question about, do you all still play RuneScape, or does it feel too similar to work? Like, I don't want my favorite thing to turn into a chore.
Do you know, I've actually had this conversation with quite a few people today. I would say, I think that Jagex is quite a unique scenario in that the people who join Jagex, for the most part, are really into the game, and are quite happy to spend 8 hours a day working on the game and then going home to spend another 8 hours playing it, right? But you do see across the industry, the general trend is that sometimes it is a bit overkill. You know, you will kind of the game will lose its charm, I think, if you spend all day working on it, especially if you know what goes on behind the scenes in the game, right? How it works and stuff like that. I think the charm of a game is to just experience it as the finished product, right? You get all the surprises and all that sort of stuff. So I think, yeah, I don't know. It's really mixed. It really is mixed. But for the most part, sometimes it can lose its charm if you work on something
I try and
all day.
balance it, so we get so much exposure to what everything's going on. So for instance, with Old School and Dragon Slayer 2, I try to avoid as much talk about it so I could play it as a player. I don't play as much as I did, but I try and experience some of the big stuff that I know I'm excited about as a player, so I deliberately avoid anything that isn't relevant to me in terms of my work and my development as well. So I don't know if you guys are like that, but I'll be like, there's an article that's come up and I went, nope, don't want to read that, just in case of spoilers, kind of.
So I was a very hardcore player. I'd been playing solidly for around 8 years when I first started Jagex. When I first started, it did sort of dawn on me, like, wow, this is a big change. Like, I can see everything. Yeah. And then I go home and I do the same thing. But honestly, like, that changed entirely. When I started being more involved with the development teams and stuff, like, you get really excited about what is coming out. You get to know exactly what's coming out, and you get to then experience it both in the pre and post development stages. I avoid test worlds because I don't want to actually play the content, so I'll wait for them to actually come out. But I was completely RS3 until I actually got put onto Old School, and then I started playing Old School very hard. Like, that was when Hardcore Iron Men came out, and I got on that hype train. And I think I was averaging something like 10 hours a day on that account whilst I was still in a full-time employment. So I would go home and I would play until sort of like 2 a.m., get up in the morning, like do my farm run, go to work, and then spend most of the weekends playing. So I think it actually inspired me to play more, which was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's kind of nuts, though. Yeah.
I like being the dare, you like be able to just analyze your own playtime. Yeah. Like, oh my god!
Oh,
like,
you have like spreadsheets and stuff, don't you? Yeah.
So for me as a designer, I do spend a lot of time playing games, also at home, but it will be mostly, for me, part of my job is to keep up with the industry, keep up with the tech, keep up with how the genres and the designs are evolving. So you'll always find me play any of the games coming out during the last year, hopefully, for some research.
So I've been playing for about 12 years now. And up until I joined Jagex, I was quite hardcore for the past few months before that. Then I joined Jagex and I got to play it a bit, and then I was kind of like, okay, I'm tired of this when I get home. And now it's kind of like the projects are still kind of new, so the things I'm playing are still kind of like new to me. But since we're QA, we have to play the content, and we have to make sure that it's good for you guys. So we have to spoil quests for ourselves, which isn't very nice. But at the same time, one of the reasons that I want to become a designer and why I go into industry was to see how you guys react when we put out, like there's a satisfaction of getting something out there and then getting people to react, like whether they hate it or love it. That is really satisfying. But I still play now. When I go home, I'll do some raids, do my Reaper tasks, do my dailies, of course, because I have to. I don't have time at work, unfortunately. But yeah, and then the other thing is, like, if you do get tired of RuneScape, just like was said here, it's good to play other games. It's good to get sort of an influence, get some inspiration, see what's going on. I really love like story games. I really love adventure narrative. That to me is perfect. So it's good to have some freedom when you go home as well.
Next question. I'll come this side.
Hi guys. So I've got a background in film, and I like how that kind of ties in with gaming. Do you guys, and have you ever observed in the office on a wider scale, do people watch a lot of films as well as play a lot of games? And does that help with the influencing of the content that you create?
Absolutely. I don't think I've ever worked anywhere that has had as much movie buffs. Like, honestly, a lot of us are big fans of films, and typically across genres, I would say, but yeah. If you're into films, just find anyone at Jagex and they're into them too.
So when I worked at Warner Brothers, we would see every new film the day before it came out. The whole office would actually walk together to a movie cinema that we rented only for us and have a little preview on every new game that came out. And that's actually something that also Capcom did for us, that we would also rent a whole cinema. And we saw Coco, I think, about 6 months ago or something like that. And it's really important to stay inspired.
They're like similar mediums, aren't they? So you get inspiration from the same. I mean, even the orchestra were joking when they played like Lord of the Rings. It's undeniable that Tolkien is somewhat, responsible for RuneScape. So, but the lines are kind of now being blurred as well. So you'll see like motion capture actors as well, and they're both sides of the. They're not just in film now; they're in games. That very big wedge that used to define games as opposed to cinema and film. It's not a lot there anymore now, and you can tell that now. And like I said, there are people who are working in games and in film, and across back and forth. It's quite funny watching the guys, because I've been working with BAFTA, and you can see the BAFTA film guys, like the games guys are coming for us, and they've got so much cooler stuff as well, because they're kind of the new kids on the block. It's cool to see that line blurring, basically.
How feasible do you think that's going to be integrating into this game?
So I'd love to see more cap in RuneScape. That would be absolutely wicked. I don't know. Never say never. Like, if it made sense, like the level of detail and finesse isn't necessary in commercially released products right now. But if we were, say, working on other exciting things, maybe, I don't know. I like to tease that. But like, for instance, like Ninja and Hellblade, they were like, you can see that.
Yeah. And you can look across the road, even if you see what the stuff that Ninja Theory are doing with
They got a studio for it.
Senua's Sacrifice. I don't know if any of you guys have played it, but I think it was a couple of years ago at SIGGRAPH, which is a big graphics convention, they kind of debuted this tech that they're using where it's like real-time graphic rendering, and it's insane. It's actually insane. It's mega. They had the main actress in the game just on stage, literally acting out her scene, and you could see on the screen this engine just rendering it all in real time. And that's the kind of technology that is shared between like film and games. And it's really cool to see how we are contributing to pushing that boundary actually, and working closely with film studios as well, right? So it's a thing.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Hi, I have a question that's primarily for Mod Lottie, although anyone can answer. So I'm a data science student, and I know what data science looks like in a lot of other industries, but I was wondering if you could share a little bit more about what it looks like within the games industry.
Yeah, sure. We can talk more afterwards as well if you want. So we roughly get around 2 terabytes to 3 terabytes of data a day from both of the games, and that's telemetry feeds and all sorts. So we have a lot of data. It's a lot of raw data. We track a lot. So yeah, it's difficult to actually then use that. So a lot of the data science side of things is going to be some analytics to sort of transform that data into usable data. And then we put that into different things. So we've got, for an example, we do game economy modeling and that sort of thing. So we'll look at trends within the game economy for when we release, say, raids or some other big piece of content. We've also got sentiment analysis. So we've got chat and sort of how that is interpreted. So we'll see what people are talking about, then also whether or not that's positive, negative. If all of a sudden everyone's saying, bad things about Jagex, we want to know. So and we also want to do stuff, there's all sorts of stuff. So we've got CCRM systems, so we can look at sort of targeting certain people with promotions, which, that's a business. But yeah, I mean, they're the main things. We have I think 14 people in our department currently. There's 3 product analysts. I'm the senior. We've got 3, I think, commercial analysts. One of them is a marketing analyst. We've got 3 data scientists, 3 data engineers, a principal analyst, and a head of analytics. I didn't count how many that was, but I'm going to assume it's around 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one who works on numbers, and we're trusting you on the numbers aspect of it.
It's bad.
We're all very tired.
We believe you, basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much more info you want, but we've got 2 databases. We've got a big data store, which is Hadoop, and then we've got a smaller one, which is more quick and reliable for the analysts, so that's Vertica. Cool. Yeah, we can catch up after if you want to really get into it. I can introduce you to some of the data scientists as well, because they're around.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Is anyone else
Did that answer the
want to
question?
expand on that? I have nothing else to say. Next question. Do we have enough, maybe 1, maybe 2?
Yeah, I reckon we could squeeze in maybe 2 more questions.
I mean, I'm happy to stick around a little bit if anyone wants to grab me
Yeah.
afterwards as well. I know if you guys are busy. Was there another question? Wasn't there?
Hi there, I'm curious, how does the reality of working for Jagex compare with how you thought it was going to be before you joined the company?
Interesting question. So how does the reality of working at Jagex compare with what you thought it might be like before you joined? I don't even know how to answer that, actually. I think the thing is, Jagex has been going through such a transformational stage over the last kind of year and a half-ish that, I think culturally we are shifting in a way. It's still, I mean,
the games industry as a whole right now, there's
Yeah.
so much change. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
like that for 5 years, 10 years anyway,
Yeah.
but it moves so fast.
so whatever expectations that you had about any studio a year and a half ago, it's going to be different. What isn't different actually is just how down to earth everybody is. That is fully what I expected joining, and it's definitely the reality of joining Jagex as well. And you will make some great friends wherever you are, but I have to say, of all the catch-ups that I've had with various people who are, experienced industry professionals, they've worked at different studios all their lives. One of the key things they do say is that, there's nowhere else quite like Jagex in terms of the people that you come across and the friends that you make. But yeah, what about you guys?
So you have experience elsewhere, so I'm curious.
Oh wow.
It's the worst. Then it's like, yeah.
I think that when you've been in this industry for a while, you learn how to decode your interviews, and you hear the stories from the grapevine as well. So I had a pretty clear image of what I got myself into, but I have to say that the social factor has been above and beyond, and also there's a certain difference between North America and Europe in that people are a little bit more humble and less hierarchical here, and it's been a welcoming change for me. I've enjoyed a lot, and I've been able to get a lot of trust and responsibility and grown very quickly in my team, which is also above expectation.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I didn't really come in with any expectations. I had an idea of what the office might look like, or I had an idea of like who I might be speaking to or what I might be doing on a day-to-day basis, but all of that was out the window on day one. And then ever since then, since about 2 months ago, everything has been positive. I don't think I've had one day of work which I could have considered bad, or even one day of work which I could have considered work. It just feels like it's like a dream to be working with.
You're so new. That will change. That will change.
Give it a couple more months. Give it a couple more months, and I'm sure I'll feel that way. But right now, no, it's been great. Everyone has been super supportive. Everyone has been super friendly. If I have any ideas or any feedback for absolutely anyone in the company, everyone's been open to hearing it and giving me feedback. Everyone's open to chat. Everyone's open to play a game of pool or darts. Yeah, it's just like and I mean, I moved up from Scotland, moved away from family. Moving down here has actually felt like I've moved to just like another home. I think if I moved down here and it wasn't like this, it would feel a lot more lonely and cold. But it's great. Like, I stay so late in the office just because there's.
You're from the north as well. You know what cold's like, basically.
I stay so late in the office just because there's always something to do, or there's always someone to be with, even after you've finished your work. There's like, we just sit and we talk about RuneScape, or we just sit and talk about ideas, or we have a beer Friday, where we just drink beer and play pool and play darts and just hang out. And there's people from all different sort of walks of life and stuff, which like it just brings so much to it. It's great. It's great.
You almost said the family word, and it does feel. It feels cheesy.
It feels like a family.
But it does feel close, doesn't it? Like, so the bad days which you've not yet had, ironically, they're the ones I enjoy the most, because when you get through one of them, and we have days where everything's on fire, which is most days actually, but there we go. But when you get through a day like that, and you're just looking around at your team, and it's just like, wow, we actually survived that together. It's kind of like a band of brothers, and it's kind of everyone kind of comes together. And so, again, 5 years ago me, 10 years ago me, to be working in games, like I'm just happy to be here, and I'm clinging on with all my strength to remain in the industry, but never thought I'd do things like this, like no chance, like RuneFest. You know, I love RuneScape, I love playing RuneScape, I love the players. To genuinely interact with you guys intimately like this, face to face, as a player and as a developer, as someone who like releases things out into the open, you know, they mean a lot to me. Like that feeling you don't get anywhere else. It's weird, but yeah, it's not a feeling I can explain until you've kind of done that. So I did like you almost got the family. It is a family.
I mean, I'm going to echo exactly what they said, to be honest, but I honestly was expecting Jagex to be worse than it was when I first came in, because as a player, you always hear like Reddit, you know. It's
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Because think about it this way. People will always take the time to leave a negative review, but who leaves a positive review? Like, if you have something bad to say, you will say it. But sometimes when you think something good, you don't necessarily think, I'll take some time out and put it in a review. So bear that in mind, peeps.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest. Like, I came in thinking, Jagex is just, money grabbing. That's what they are. Like, you see that on Reddit all the time, you see the Twitter and everything. But honestly, like, you sit in Jagex and they're constantly talking about players. Like, it's never about, like, money or anything like that. It's about how do we get players to stay around? How do we get players to be happy with the game? How do we get players to enjoy it? And it's all about you guys. So, yeah, it was refreshing to be at Jagex after that, yeah.
I think don't read Reddit is what I'm also reading through that. Stay off Reddit.
Don't read Reddit. Yeah.
Stay off Reddit,
don't
guys.
read the comments. Stay off Reddit.
Don't read Reddit. Someone enlightened me to what's been going on Reddit. yesterday, and they came up to me. They're like, "Jodie, you're so brave
You're different.
for
Like,
playing the sandwich lady."
yeah, it's not been a great couple of weeks for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
once you open that door, you
Yeah.
don't come back out the same. Very quick.
Anyway, I think we're out of time-ish.
We're going
5
to 5 minutes.
minutes.
Bonus,
One more question.
bonus
Go on, one more
questions.
question.
Anyone
Let's
else?
push it in.
No pressure. This has to be a good one.
Yeah.
Now. We're all judging.
If Jagex were to release a game that was basically RuneScape in the style of Skyrim and you didn't have to work on it, do you think you would get as pulled into it as deeply as you did the full game before you started working on it?
Yes.
I mean, wouldn't that just be Skyrim, right? It would just literally be Skyrim, except with more particle effects and more pets naturally as well.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
We should have like a futuristic RuneScape, like Mechscape or something like that. We should like consider doing that.
Yeah. So the question is, would I have the same reaction to the game if I wasn't in the company? Is that right?
So AAA, think RuneScape proper
Yeah.
AAA maybe? Yeah.
I hope so. But I think yes, because like, if RuneScape is anything to go by, then a lot of us have sort of an attachment to it, having grown up with it and being in that social space. And that's the thing with like, if it was an online, like if it was Elder Scrolls Online, then you're with other people and whatnot. So it's great. I think that's what makes RuneScape great, is there's so much to do, but you're also with people online. So if it was like Skyrim, where it's just a single player thing, I think you've taken a lot away. And Jagex thrives in that sort of, online social play. That's not to say that we couldn't do it. I'm pretty sure we have some great people who could do it.
On that note, this is a recruitment plug. We actually hired the guy responsible for building the infrastructure behind Elder Scrolls. So yeah. Woo. So yeah. Sorry.
No,
This
okay.
is my life, by the way. It's very exciting when I make these hires.
But yeah, I think it would be the same reaction. I would just be more excited to work on it. Like, that would be a crazy thing to work on. That sounds amazing.
So I think that RuneScape, like this the fantasy setting and the sphere in the world, that I think there's a lot of places you can take that within different genres, and I would be interested in every time.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that kind of wraps it up, right? I hope you guys enjoyed the panel. Know that if you see us about, of course, we're more than happy to stop and, talk some more about stuff like this. You can follow it. I think we all have Twitter accounts, right? No?
I'm still a junior, and I'm still on probation, so.
Well, soon we're going to find Mod Breezy on Twitter.
Hopefully.
Mod Breezy, hey. I'm Mod Jay-Z, so I'm Jagex Jay-Z on Twitter. Feel free to add me there.
Yes, Jagex Boko.
At Mejerwall.
Jagex Lottie.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Yeah?
Sorry, I just want to plug. If any of you guys are RS3 players, we have a mining and smithing beta right over there. We would love to see your guys' reaction, any issues, any feedback. Please do come and play it. It is the alpha right now, so please. Can you log on here? It's a JMod account.
What does right over there mean?
Oh, sorry. So just across from the food court. We are next to the rock painting and food court. We're like right there. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I'm going to wait to be for about 15, 20 minutes. I'll stick around here if anyone wants to talk to me that didn't want to kind of ask a question. Happy to answer questions as well. So.
I'll stick around as well.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming.